Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. There are some things that we can discuss, disagree on, whatever. But there are others which should be settled, which should not be requiring us to be going back over and over again. The other day, I posted an article commenting on Nelson Chamisa coming out of his sabbatical and saying that he's going to take part in politics. The substance of it was to question that, to reaffirm that the sabbatical was a sabbatical, although some people said, oh, he had retired from politics and therefore then it should not be held to account. And as he confirmed himself, he's coming back. But that is not the substance of this video. What I found really disappointing is that some of the people who have commented on the article did not even refer to the substance of the issues raised. They never addressed them. Indeed, many of them agree with the issues raised. For instance, that MDC, Chamisa and his MDC friends failed to implement any meaningful reforms, even when they had the golden opportunity to do so. And that last year, Nelson Chamisa lied about plugging all the vote rigging loopholes. They agree with that. And yet the comments still came. The substance of it is not so much that they are disagreed with the substance. It's just that these people believe that Chamisa should not be held to account. This I find ridiculous, if not insane. We should not be, at this stage, discussing whether or not people like Nelson Chamisa should be held to account or not. It is an essential requirement of democracy. Democracy, as defined as a government of the people, by the people, for the people, only works if the people are educated, knowledgeable, and they are diligent in holding the leaders to account. That is absolutely essential for democracy to work. So if we are serious about wanting Zimbabwe to be a democratic nation, those are the basics that we should have agreed on. We should not be debating whether or not Chamisa should be held to account. He must be held to account. He is in a leadership position. He must account for the years, 24 years, on the political stage where he had promised to implement democratic reforms and yet failed to implement even one token reform. He must also account for lying to the people that he had plugged vote rigging loopholes when in reality he had not done so. If you are going to disagree, at least we should disagree on the substance, not on the essential point that leaders must be accountable. The only rational reason why some of these people cannot stomach the point that leaders like Chamisa should be held to account is that they genuinely believe leaders are demigods. They are infallible. And therefore, then they cannot be held to account. This is a negation of the very essence of democracy. We should have got over that by now. 44 years after independence, and we still cannot hold free, fair, and credible elections. And one of the reasons why is because we've got millions of people out there who do not even understand what constitutes free, fair, and credible elections. If they did, they would not be arguing whether Zanu PF or last year's elections were free, fair, and credible. Because they were not. One of the lies that Chamisa made was that he had plugged all the vote rigging loopholes to stop Zanu PF rigging the elections. The very fact that millions of Zimbabweans believed him speaks volumes of those people. Because they should have known that Chamisa and company was dragging the nation into an election without even something as basic as a verified voters roll. How can you have free, fair, and credible elections without something as basic as a verified voters roll? Team Pachedu, an NGO, had done excellent work and had revealed that Zimbabwe's voters roll was in shambles. The law itself demanded that we should have a verified voters roll at least one calendar month before nomination day. Everybody knew that the voters roll was in shambles. And so for Chamisa to claim that he had plugged all the vote rigging loopholes was just idiotic nonsense. And when someone tries to hold him to account for that, the response from some people is that you're Satan, you're the devil himself. If those who are holding the leaders to account are the devil, surely the devil should be those who are lying, conning people into participating in flawed elections to perpetuate the dictatorship and the suffering of the people. And the people denouncing them, they themselves have failed to understand that their number one responsibility in a healthy and functioning democracy is to hold the leaders to account. They're not only failing to hold the leaders to account, they're stopping others from doing it. No wonder we are a failed state. And to be quite honest, at this rate, we have absolutely no hope of ever getting out of this mess. If we are still arguing about whether or not leaders should be held to account at this stage, this is like somebody going to university level and then discovering that they don't even know the alphabet. The stuff that they should have learned in grade 1. The world does not wait. If we choose to be spending the rest of our lives arguing over basic issues like whether or not leaders should be held to account, whether or not leaders are demigods or ordinary mortals. Because at the heart of holding a leader to account is a fundamental acknowledgement that a leader is another mortal being, fallible like the rest of us. And to raise them to a pedestal where they become demigods, untouchable, is the most idiotic argument one could be dealing with. And we should not be arguing about things like that. We should have moved on by now. But there we are. We're still making a mountain out of a molehill. We still believe that Chamisa is a demigod, even with his track record of being corrupt, incompetent, and a liar. There are some people there who still believe he's a demigod. "44 years after independence, we are still failing to hold free, fair, credible elections. We're still failing to stop Zanu PF rigging the elections. And if the truth be told, the last 24 years, Zanu PF has managed to continue rigging the elections and staying in power with the connivance of MDC CCC leaders. We need to move on as a nation, or we are not getting out of this hellhole that we find ourselves in. Thank you very much for those of you who were able to join me this afternoon, and have a good day.